very good-looking hat.
That's a nice
stylish
shot
hat.
there.
And to the right, it's Ben. Ben came second in the Standard Open. What did he decide to bring to the table for Legacy?
Ben is also playing a blue-white Stoneforge deck. The difference here, I'd say Ben Friedman has the advantage in the matchup. I played a similar mirror when I was at the Star City Open in Baltimore. I was playing for top 8 against AJ Soccer, and I was playing the blue-white Stoneforge deck with Spellstutter Sprites and Mutavaults.
Okay.
While AJ had extra Elspeths and Mishra's Factories, and the fact that his Mishra's Factories matched up so well against my Mutavaults made me end up losing the Planeswalker War.
Yeah.
So I think Ben is favored here, considering he's the one with the factories and Ben's the one with the Mutavaults.
Okay, well, they're in Game 3.
Yeah.
So, first couple of turns, just land go. So, I mean, it's just... Their deck lists are just so similar.
Yeah, I mean, the one-ups count a lot in Legacy, though, and the very small changes.
Okay.
When you're casting cards like Brainstorm and you're, just looking through your deck so much and you're snapcasting Brainstorms and you have all of these shuffle effects and whatnot, it becomes very easy to see cards, even though you have very few of them in your deck.
Sure.
So, like, for example, like the one Jit in Ben Friedman's deck has a ton of value in this matchup. And he can even Stoneforge for it, obviously.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Alright, so Ben sacks both his fetch lands, leaving with one, and there's a Spell Snare on that Stoneforge Mystic.
And now, Blue-White Stoneforge, a lot of people dislike this deck because it's so similar to Caw-Blade, which a lot of people were very much opposed to. But Blue-White Stoneforge, it's not the unbeatable machine that it is that it can be in other formats.
All right, so Ben sacks his fetch lands.
And it's Volcanic Island, so looks like Ben Isgur has the Red Elemental Blast sideboard.
Okay, he also has Pyroblast as well. 2 of each, pretty much the same as that card, just different names. All right, there's a Spell Stutter Sprite targeting the Spell Snare. And Ben has a second Spell Snare. All right, so favorable exchange for Ben, because
Ben has a 4th land and an Elspeth or a Jace. He's in a super awesome spot.
Even a Stoneforge is good.
Yeah,
there's a Stoneforge Mystic. What was that? Oh, yeah, Friedman. Okay, we'll call Ben Friedman, and we'll call Ben. All right, so Friedman plays a Stoneforge Mystic, gets down a Batterskull, and Ben is probably in trouble here. I see just a couple of lands and a Forcible that's not going to do much because the Stoneforge is just going to use the ability, and Friedman will allow the Batterskull to enter play, and it can't be countered.
Yeah, I mean, Ben has the Swords to Plowshares, which he's going to have to use to kill the Stoneforge Mystic. I'm surprised he didn't use it on his opponent's end step.
All right, there is and Friedman just immediately allows it to get plowed. Friedman thinks, hey, it did its job. It got my Stoneforge. It got my Batterskull. So Stoneforge, is now not much of an use. And Ben activates a Mutavault, and I think Friedman here might go for a Swords to Plowshare.
I probably would.
Yeah. He could also just take the 2 damage and then Sword during the end step.
Just in case he plays a Stoneforge?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I don't mind that play at all.
Okay.
Now, Ben Friedman, recent Grand Prix top 8 competitor down in Orlando. He lost to Conley Woods, who eventually was the Grand Prix champion down there.
Sure. All right, so Friedman draws a Riptide Lab.
Which is it's pretty important, especially in this matchup. You want to draw one of it.
Yeah, and it's land number 5. But I think he's going to Brainstorm before he does anything else.
He's looking for a big 4. He wants a Jace or an Elspeth here.
And Brainstorm will resolve. There's a Spell Snare. Oh, wow, another Stoneforge Mystic. And I think that's an Elspeth. Yeah, this is...
Yeah, that's the promo Elspeth from the Elspeth versus Tezzeret duel decks.
Yeah, it is.
Some really cool products.
Okay. So he's going to hide Force of Will. And I think he's going to just go for the Stoneforge right here. Yep, he goes for the Stoneforge.
That seems reasonable to me.
Okay. And he's going to... Okay, so pretty much what he did there, he Brainstormed. He just put the Battle Skull back just because he knew he was immediately going to get it again. So definitely a strong play by Friedman. And all right, so
that's a really fun trick to do with your Stoneforge.
So Ben draws a Jace here. Now Ben might be forced to tap out to play a Jace, but we'll see what happens. All right, so he sacrifices Misty Rainforest. Fetches up a Tundra. Do you think he's gonna go for the Jace?
Probably, right?
Yeah, I think he probably has to. What else, will he really do? So Ben plays a Jace. Let's see if Friedman uses his counter spell, which I think he'll do.
I would assume so.
Yeah. I believe he does have a counter in his hand. No? Really? Okay. I guess he has a spell snare. I guess Friedman with no counter magic. Otherwise, he just would have used it. So Ben gets to brainstorm. What does Friedman have? Oh, okay, wow, that's pretty good. Friedman plays an Elspeth, and it's funny because Ben was sitting on a Pyroblast, which doesn't stop the Elspeth. Okay, so I think they're. I see. Ben has a Force of Will, but does he have a blue card? Right, so Elspeth's on the stack. Elspeth's on the stack.
All right. So I guess what Ben is thinking here is, does Ben have a Force and a blue card?
Yeah, there's a Vanilla Click, so Ben's going to force Friedman's Elspeth. And all right, that Elspeth's gone. Friedman now sacrifices both Flutter Strands and activates the Battle Skull, entering a germ into play attached to it. So Friedman has a 4/4 lifelink Vigilance creature. And Ben's going to untap with Jace. Why did Friedman do it now? Was he playing around Stifle?
I suppose so.
I mean, is that the reason? We don't see Stifle in his list, but maybe Friedman doesn't know what Ben has and stuff. What do you think, Jake?
I mean, I don't think he thinks his opponent has Stifle, but I don't know. I guess you never know.
Yeah, somebody else tweeted in, and we both thought that Friedman had a Force of Will. But
I think Ben has the Force in his hand. I mean, removing a card for Force of Will is a lot worse than people think it is.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we'll see. Right now, the game's definitely in Ben's favor. We're calling Ben Isgur Ben, and we're calling Ben Friedman, just for everybody at home.
Yeah, I think Isgur right now is actually the favorite.
Yeah, I think Isgur is a favorite as well.
Yeah, untapping and having a Jace in play is pretty brutal.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Ben decides to attack with his Battle Skull.
Yeah.
And Isgur is going to flash a Spell Stutter Spray into play.
And there's a Spell Snare from Friedman
to block the Battle Skull.
Yeah, Friedman tries to play a Spell Snare, and I think it's going to resolve. So is Isgur now going to activate his Mutavault?
It's a good question.
There's a Pyroblast on the Spell Snare.
And now that the Pyroblasts out of Isgur's hand, now Friedman can start doing some, making work of this game.
I see a Spell Pierce and a Snapcaster. So Friedman goes with a Snapcaster. And he'll target the Spell Snare and try to recounter the Spell Stutter Sprite, which this time it will resolve.
Alright, so Ben going going up to 20. This is lifelinker.
All right, so Isgur draws a Wasteland. Doesn't really do much here. Now Friedman's in like complete control. I thought maybe Isgur should have used the Jace to bounce the Germ token.
Yeah, I mean I like doing that. The problem is that with Ben having 5 lands in play, Ben Friedman can just wait until Isgur's end step, and then he can pay 3 and return the Batter Skull, and then just play another 2 and just drop it right back into play.
Yeah, I mean it would just take more time though. So there's a Brainstorm from Isgur. Okay, so he finds his own Stoneforge Mystic. That might do some damage here. He'll put back 2 lands. Alright, and plays Stoneforge. I believe Ben has a Spell Pierce in his hand. And what Ben should have done, Ben should have Spell Pierced before casting Snapcaster Mage. Then Isgur would have tapped out of his Mutavault. Yeah, I don't like how Friedman played this, because if Friedman Spell Pierced the previous turn, I was going to say something, but I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Isgur would have had to tap his 2 mana to pay for the Spell Pierce. Then he could have Snapcastered back something, and the Batter Skull would have killed the Jace. And I'll talk to Friedman about that. Yeah, I'll talk to Friedman about that later, and I'm certain he'll agree, because he's one to always think strategy and see where he could improve in his game. So Friedman's thinking, what does he want to do? How is he going to play this? He has to take out the Jace this turn, because otherwise Jace will just... I mean, Jace already did a lot. I felt like Friedman could have taken Jace out last turn if he made the Spell Pierce play. So he taps 2 and plays a Snapcaster, which he drew off the top. He has Snapcaster, and what will he target? Well, alright, there's a Spell Snare, but here's a Spell Pierce from Friedman. Alright, awesome. I'm not sure what the Snapcaster is targeting. We'll find that in a second. There's a Sword Step Plowshare. It makes the most sense. He's going to sword that Stoneforge Mystic. His Stoneforge Mystic and his Snapcaster will eat up Jace, and Batter Skull will deal 4 damage to Isgur. Alright, and yeah, now Friedman's in complete control of this game. So I guess these games are kind of swingy. Back and forth, back and forth. I mean, Isgur doesn't really have much at all. Friedman will draw for his turn. He'll bash him with everybody. I think Isgur might just take it. He might have a Snapcaster in his hand. Yeah, oh. He's paying 2. There's a Snapcaster Mage. Friedman takes a look at his graveyard. And if the Snapcaster resolves, I'm still not sure exactly what Isgur's plan is. Looks like Friedman might have something, though. Friedman taps 3 mana. He's going to return his Snapcaster from play, replay it, and he'll probably target his Spell Snare in response. That's going to resolve.
It's pretty strong. I mean, Riptide Laboratory is one of my favorite cards ever.
Yeah, especially with Snapcaster Mage, it just gets so much better.
It's just so huge.
Alright, so Isgur will fall down to 7 life, and he'll just be dead pretty much this turn. There's a Jace. Jace has to balance Batter Skull. It doesn't matter because Friedman could just equip Batter Skull to one of his guys and then attack. So, congratulations, Ben Friedman. Played pretty well, drew pretty well, and managed to beat Isgur in Game 3. We're not sure what happened the first 2 games, but I'm guessing it was probably back and forth,